Welcome into Hand Raise Guys, presented by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. I'm Neal McCready in the Clark Ford Studios here on this Thursday afternoon, starting a little bit before 4:30. We'll go for a little while tonight. This show will be potentially joined by Chase Parham. I don't know. He was coming back from the coast, so you know how that is. Sometimes you can run into some traffic, got to make some stops, things of that nature, especially when you're traveling with young people, as he was. So it might take them a minute. He might get here. He might not. No big deal. I told him today not to feel obligated by any stretch. So it might just be me, at which point we will be the tone and length of the show will be determined by you guys in the stream. You can call. All of those things. I'll be happy to talk to you. It's been a day full of podcasts, a couple of days full of podcasts. So this will be literally up to you guys. But I will tell you that we're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great people, products, and services. So you guys know the drill. It's still going to be close to 80 degrees this weekend. It's still going to be warm. You're walking into Vaught-Hemingway Stadium on Saturday. It's going to be a little toasty at times. And you're going to think, it's not getting cool anytime soon. But it's getting cool sometime soon. And at some point in the next couple months, maybe less, you're going to want to turn that heater on. It's going to be cold one night. You're going to want to turn that heater on, and you want to make sure that that thing's ready to roll, because there's nothing worse than finding out that it's not, or you get that bad smell, whatever the case would have been. So get in touch with Comer. Get in touch with Southern. If you're in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, those areas, call Comer. 662-801-1777. If you're in the Memphis area, South Haven, Hernando, Olive Branch, Horn Lake, those areas, call Southern, 662-429-4429. This will be the Friday Blue Sky Live. Blue Sky located all over the state of Mississippi. If you're coming in for the game this weekend, again, Ole Miss and Washington State, 11:45 on the SEC Network. If you're coming in for that game, stop by Blue Sky on your way in or out of Oxford or anywhere. Tupelo, Jackson, Madison, Gluckstadt, wherever you see Blue Skies, stop. Great place to fill up, obviously. It's obviously also a great place to grab some snacks, sodas, beer, whatever the case may be, bottled water. Just stop for a restroom break, plate lunches, ribs, you name it, they've got it at the Blue Sky, wherever you see Blue Sky. So stop by, tell them that you heard about them here on MPW Digital. That would be great as well. I'm in the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He will send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. Again, 662-257-1900. And you guys can call in on the Campbell Clinic Hotline. From fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions, the pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized pediatric orthopedic team in North Mississippi providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit CampbellClinicOxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111. Wicked Brew says either the Ole Miss defense is an issue or Elias Camerdine is going to be nasty this basketball season. The dunk that Ole Miss basketball posted on X/Twitter was filthy. So there's a media op today. They had their pro day was today. We didn't get to see practice or anything, but we talked to AJ Storr. Talked to I'll get to you in a minute, Corey. Talked to AJ Storr. Talked to Chris Beard. I put both of the interviews up at MPW Digital. If you're on Rebels 24/7, Chris's interview is up. I'll turn that into written content when I get a chance. I've not had a chance to do that yet, but I will. Everyone around that program says that Cammerdine's the deal, that he's the real thing. I think this is going to be a really good team. SEC basketball media days are next week. I think you're going to see Ole Miss picked somewhere between 6th and 8th. I've got them 6th on my ballot, and that's pretty heady. It's pretty heady stuff when you're in this league as good as the SEC is. Jeffrey Wright and I talked about it some this morning on Blue Sky Live, the Thursday morning Blue Sky Live. I mean, this is going to be a loaded basketball league. It's better than last year, potentially. And last year included 2 Final Fours, a national champion, multiple Sweet 16 type teams. I mean, this league's really, really good. There are some potentially elite teams. I think there are 7 potentially elite SEC basketball teams. In no particular order. I think Florida goes first because they won the national championship. I think that's more than fair. Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Ole Miss. I think all of those teams are potentially elite basketball teams. And then you have other teams that are going to be good. I mean, I think Vanderbilt's going to be good. Missouri's going to be good. Mississippi State will be good. Oklahoma will be good. So it's a really talented league. I mean, they're when you talk about how many teams in the league are going to be, quote, bad, maybe one. South Carolina's the one that comes to mind. That's a team that might just be bad. But everybody else is going to be shades of good, and some of those teams at the top are going to be elite. Bubba says, Neal, Ruston is getting a Buc-ee's. I knew that. I'd heard about that. I know exactly where it's going to be. I was in Ruston in June for a wedding, and that was one of the things that came up. Ruston getting a Buc-ee's. Ruston moving up in the world. Wicked says the U.S. men's under-20 soccer team absolutely hammered Italy 3-0 into the U20 World Cup quarterfinals. That's awesome. Hope I get to check that out. I'm excited about the World Cup next summer. I'm already working on some tickets. I'm going to try to take Carson someplace, any place, to see World Cup soccer. I think it's going to be really cool for our country. As the weather has turned, this is the first time I've kind of really missed. I've missed soccer. I'm going to miss the high school season for sure. Someone says, hope you're having a good day, Neal. Thank you. I hope you are too. I'm having a good day. It's been a busy day. This is my 4th of 4 podcasts. Loaded Pete's Pigskin preview. My producer Caroline McCready did after I taped with Pete last night. So that's up. There's a lot of content up at MPW Digital. Hope you guys are enjoying it as we get ready for another football weekend. Corey says, Neal, what's up with the Mississippi State hate? Bo Bounds and Hey Dad both are discounting your comments regarding Lebby. However, they do the same with Lane each November. All right, so few things. One, there's no hate. I don't have any hate at all from Mississippi State. None, zero. I've said this before. They did a phenomenal job recruiting my oldest child in college. She did not go there. She went to Arkansas, but she was recruited extremely well by Mississippi State. My middle child, Caroline, almost looked at Mississippi State. She was interested in participating in college dance, and that was one of the schools that she was going to look at. She ultimately did not. So there's no Mississippi State hate. And all I said about Jeff Lebby is this. But I've learned this is a sensitive topic to people. College football's an emotional topic to people. They just flip out about it. Right or wrong, good or bad, I don't get emotional about it. I don't have a team. I know that's hard for people. People don't like that. I make ULM jokes, but I haven't watched ULM. I'm not going to watch ULM. I cover Ole Miss. That's who I cover. I'm not emotionally attached. All I said about Mississippi State was this. I've heard, let's be clear. I've heard that Jeff Lebby, which means his intermediaries, people around him, have put out some feelers. There's lots of coaches that put out feelers. Lots. That's what they have agents for. Jeff Lebby's very connected in the college football world, not only by being a head coach at the SEC level, former offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, at Oklahoma, knows a lot of people. His father-in-law, Art Briles, was a very successful coach at Baylor before the scandal, but is still very highly thought of in coaching circles. Jeff's brother-in-law, Kendall Briles, the former defensive coordinator at Arkansas. I guess I don't know where Kendall is now. Is he still at TCU maybe? Still a very highly thought of defensive coordinator. And all I said was, if you made me prove it, I couldn't. I didn't report it. I didn't tweet it. I didn't write about it. But it's got people super sensitive and all up in their feels. It's what I heard. I was doing a podcast by myself on a Monday. I mean, I'm just a fat, bald dude talking into a camera at that point, filling an hour and 15 minutes. It's something I heard. I have nothing against Jeff Lebby one way or the other. I like Jeff, in fact. I hope he does well, whether that's in Mississippi State or anywhere else. But I've gotten people worked up, and I've heard that you've said nasty things about me, which is fine. Say all the nasty things you want. It's all good. I don't care. I harbor no ill will towards Bo Bounds or Brian Haydad or anyone else. It's all good. Say what you want. Get it out. If it makes you feel better, make fun of me. Make fun of me all you want. The only thing I ask is please don't make comments about my family. Say it about me and leave it at that. Hey, who do we have?
What's up, Neal? It's Tupelo.
Hey, Tupelo. What's up, man?
Not a whole lot. I hadn't been able to call in a while, so it's good to be back. Hey, we all know it, Neal. You just hate the dogs. You just hate the dogs.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't even want to joke about it because I don't. I mean, I know. I mean, I don't. I don't really. I've told people this. Of all the schools in the SEC, it's probably the one that I'm least connected to. I don't really know anybody there, but I have no ill will whatsoever to Mississippi State. Every time I've ever been there, I've been treated nicely, professionally. You know, I'll do anybody's show, whatever. I mean, we have a Mississippi State show on MPW Digital. I mean, it's that, and I know you're joking, but there are people that are trying to do this fan thing, and people go, "Why do you always fight back on that?" I'm like, because it's not true. And if somebody says something about you that's simply not true, you should say, "No, that's not true." And I'm not a fan.
Well,
I'm just not. And there are a lot of people that struggle with that. They don't like it. There are a lot of people that appreciate it. I get it. But there are a lot of people, and over there, I think because this is my observation, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. My observation is that the majority of that beat, like a lot of beats, are pretty hardcore fans. And they don't really like it when someone says they're not a fan because it gets into that deal. I will also say this. I'll say this out loud. I've said this to people. Me, my type of journalist, we're a dying breed. We're going to be replaced by fans. We're going to be cycled out. We're going to be pushed out. There's zero doubt about it. We will go extinct. And I mean, the day will come, and it might be soon. I don't know. The day will come when someone in a position of power will say to me, "You simply don't fit anymore." That is going to happen. And when it does, I'm going to say, "I get it. I totally understand." And I'll go on to my next chapter in my life. But I didn't say what I said on Monday out of fandom. I said it because it's something I've heard. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I was just, I know you know I was joking, but I definitely get it. I actually thought Steve Robertson was more than fair. He just said that he wouldn't take any state opinions from the Ole Miss media beat, and I think as a whole, that's probably a good piece of advice. But anyway,
yeah, I agree with that.
You ready for the NBA season? We're less than 2 weeks away.
Yes, I am. I'm incredibly ready for the NBA season. It's about 12 days away. Very, very excited about it.
I'm pretty excited too. My rule of thumb is I don't pick a team to go back to back because we haven't seen that since the Warriors dynasty days, almost 10 years ago now, or almost 10 years ago. But I think your Thunder have got me picking them to go back to back. I mean, the team that I thought could contend in the West, I just don't know if they have it all to put together to beat the Thunder in 7 games. I mean, I think Denver could win the finals again this year.
Yes.
I think they're pretty good.
Denver is absolutely a legitimate threat. I think
that's the one. They could flip, but that should be the 1-2.
Dallas is a matchup problem for the Thunder. Now they've got to get Kyrie Irving back to make it realistic, but they do present some matchup issues. I want to see what Houston looks like. I do think the loss of Fred VanVleet's a killer for them from a depth standpoint. But look, you're adding Kevin Durant. If he can stay healthy, he gives them something they didn't have a year ago. I love him in Thompson. I think he's terrific. He's going to get a lot of extended run now. They've got some bigs that can bang with the Thunder's bigs. They're deep. They're athletic. They're a good defensive team. I don't take Golden State all that seriously. I think they're old. I think Minnesota is anytime you have a team that has Anthony Edwards on it, I think you're legitimate. I think you have to at least consider the Lakers, although I think they're remarkably thin. But you do have Luka Doncic, and he gives you a chance in any game because he very frequently is the best player on the court. I'm trying to think, is there anyone in the West that I'm leaving out? I think Memphis is a wild card. There, you have to have a completely dialed in, healthy Ja Morant, and then some guys have to make the next step. They got to get things out of like G.G. Jackson. Jaren Jackson Jr. has to have an elite season. You've got to get like it's a stretch for me to make Memphis a contender, but I think Memphis is going to be a good team. Feels like I'm leaving someone out in the West. The West is so loaded, man. So many good teams.
I don't know what's going to happen with this Clippers situation, but they could. I mean,
yeah, that's the other one.
They could be. They could be in the mix. The Grizzlies. I was going to get your opinion on them, but you kind of stated it. I think they are the wild card team in the West because I think they could finish as high as the 4 seed and as low as like the 11 and miss the whole playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they could be bad enough to fall out of the play-in, but and I would say they could get as high as the 3. I mean, I only think there's 2 teams in the West that are head and shoulders a bit above Memphis if Memphis plays at its high level. I mean, I think Oklahoma City and Denver, if they both play well, are just better than Memphis. Everyone else,
the 2 big brands.
Yeah, everyone else. I mean, I think when Memphis plays really well and Jackson plays great and Morant is dialed in and healthy, I think Memphis is right there because Ja is a fantastic player. Oh, I know the other wild card in the West. The other wild card in the West is New Orleans. I mean, if Zion stays healthy and he looks great, if Zion stays healthy, they've got other pieces. Trey Murphy III, and they kind of went all in on the draft. They made a stupid draft, but it might help them. If everybody can stay healthy, they're at least an interesting team.
Yeah. Well, we're in the heart of the NFL season. Did you watch any of the Chiefs and Jaguars game Monday night?
I watched some of it. I was pretty worn out. We had just gotten back late Sunday, and it kind of hit me on Monday night how tired I was. But yeah, I watched some of it.
Okay. So, I'm a Chiefs fan. I've watched every game. I have never seen this penalty called. Did you know that on a kick return, a kick return block, you cannot double block a kickoff, like someone on the kickoff team. So the Chiefs were returning a kick and 2 guys blocked 1 guy, and they called personal foul on the second guy. And the reason was because you can't, it's almost like the upward rule. Like if the guy's in front of you, that's the guy you have to block, kind of. And I was stunned because we had a big return. We ran it back to like the 40, and they called it. It was a 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, and we ended up getting the ball at like the 18-yard line.
Yeah,
and I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
They are determined to take away the injuries on kickoffs and stuff. They want there to be kickoffs, but they don't want these full speed injuries where you have full speed collisions where you have massive injuries. So I didn't know that rule, but I mean, I'm sure that it was a rule that teams were reminded of in training camps, and that they said they'd call it, and they called it.
Yeah, it just blew my mind. But man, this Chiefs team, it reminds me of last year's Ole Miss team. They can't run the ball, and they clinch when things get tight. I mean, it's weird. I mean, Mahomes called timeout right out of a timeout, which is, you can't do that. So they got a 5-yard penalty on that last drive. They had 4 straight penalties on the kickoff, and it's just, I'm like, it doesn't even feel like I'm watching the team that I've been watching the last few years. It feels like the old Chiefs back in the day.
They get old. Teams get old. Guys get old. We all get old. All good things come to an end, Tupelo, you know? I mean, everything.
Hey, Bill Belichick doesn't get old.
Yeah, he does. He does. He's done. He's done.
Hey, I'll let you go now. I'll let you take other calls, but as much as it pains me to say, I am, for your sake, rooting for the Cubs, just for you, not for anything else. But I hope they pull it out. I don't think they will. I think the Brewers are really good, and I think really good, right? I think Toronto's gonna make it to the World Series. But anyway, I'll let you go, Neal. Have a good night. Go Cardinals forever.
Thanks,
Talk to you later.
Thanks, Tupelo. Hang on, I don't know if I accidentally did this. Hey, caller, are you there? No, all right. I hit buttons too fast. It's too quick on the draw. Marine Rebel, thank you for the super chat. He says, Neal, as a Braves fan, I need you to Oh, and he wants me to figure out who the next manager will be. I've not done any work on that. He says, I know you love a coaching search. I do love a coaching search. That is for sure. Getting to you. Hold on. I'm trying to get to you. Hold on. I'm having a hard time hitting the right button. That's what she said. Hey, caller, go ahead.
Hey, Neal. This is Mark in Columbus, Ohio.
What's up, Mark? How are you?
Hey, I got a question, and I'll give you my answer after you're done.
Okay.
How many SEC teams are legitimate national championship contenders, like can win 3 playoff games?
In football?
In your opinion. Football right now.
Ooh.
This season.
You want a hot take answer?
I think we're going to share the same answer. Go ahead.
My answer would be none.
Same. Maybe A&M, just because they've spent so much money on the roster, and the Concepcion and Craver kid have kind of transformed the offense, and Oko's getting the defense tightened up. But I don't think any SEC team can win it.
If A&M were a little better at quarterback, I might go with that. And nothing against Marcel Reed. Again, I like Marcel, and I like his dad, the whole deal. I just can he win 3 playoff games? I'd bet against him. The only other one that you could maybe talk me into if they continue to progress, and this is a real stretch, like you'd have to like almost twist my arm to make me start really thinking maybe Alabama, maybe, probably not. I do think Simpson's playing well. I do think they're better with Jam Miller at running back. It gives their offense some balance. I do think, I feel like Brian Kelly here. I do think that lets them play more complementary football, which is sort of the path for them. They have a playmaker at receiver, even though he hasn't been making plays. That's a stretch. The left side of their offensive line's good. Maybe. I don't think it's Georgia. I think Georgia's got losses coming. I don't think it's Oklahoma. Even if Mateer's healthy, I think they're flawed. It's not Ole Miss. I don't think Ole Miss can win 3 playoff games. I'd be surprised. Ole Miss is so thin in some spots that like just an injury or two really changes their trajectory. It's not Tennessee. It's not LSU. It's not Texas, obviously. And then I just think there's at least 2 and probably 3 teams elsewhere that are just better than these SEC teams we're talking about.
I think there's one team that's head and shoulders above the entire rest of college football, and it's
Miami?
borderline not close.
Miami?
No, Ohio State. And I think Miami has – look, Mario's had daddy's credit card for 3 years, and he's totally loaded up that roster. I think they can stay on the field with Ohio State.
Yeah, I do too.
Ohio State is just an absolute Death Star, man. Like, and I hate it. Like, trust me, I'm around these people. I don't want it to be true. And, like, talking to Tennessee people, like, guys, look, they're better than they were last year. They are.
And the advantage that Ohio State –
like, I think –
the advantage they have, Mark, is that, and I'm not doing the Big Ten SEC trash talk thing because I'm not into that. But
yeah,
I mean, what you get in the SEC is that you only have one bad team. There's only one bad team.
Yeah,
and so you just get week after week. You get a little worn down. I think you get a little mentally tired. I know you get physically tired. You get kind of banged up. I mean, like, this is a big, quote, big game for Ohio State, right? On the road against a ranked opponent going to Illinois, and they're a 17-point favorite. And they're going to win the game.
And they're a 14-point favorite.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't get that in the SEC. I mean, like, for example, Tennessee's at home this week against Arkansas. And Arkansas is bad. They just fired their coach bad. And yet it's only a 12.5-point line at home. You know, I mean, it's just they're 2 different leagues. It's the one thing when Lane says it all the time, I can almost feel people sort of rolling their eyes, and I'm like, he's right. I mean, you should view the SEC differently because top to bottom, it is different than the Big Ten, than the Big 12, than the ACC.
I think Ohio State would win the SEC handily. I don't think Ohio State would run through it undefeated because I think they'd have a schedule loss in there somewhere.
They absolutely would. They'd stumble somewhere.
I think they would easily be the best team in the league. They would not run through it undefeated.
Look at this stretch that Ole Miss has coming up. At Georgia, at Oklahoma, home against South Carolina. I mean, you're not running through that undefeated because they're just somewhere you're going to trip in all likelihood. I mean, anybody that wants to say, "Oh, Ole Miss is going to go undefeated," I mean, call in. We'll make a bet. We'll have some fun with it. It'll be great for my business if you're right. I'll happily lose that bet, but realistically, that's just you don't get those stretches in the Big Ten.
No, Ohio State. I mean, obviously spends at a high level, but they're smart with their money, and they don't really try in basketball. They're not even. They don't try at all in baseball, and I think that makes a difference. Teams like Ole Miss and Tennessee are betting to be elite in all 3 sports. And at least in our case, like, yeah, we're not going to spend big. Like, this was supposed to be the ramp up year if Nico was still there.
Yep.
Which is kind of scary considering the defense we're throwing out there on the field. But I don't expect us this year or next to go fully all in. But I certainly expect us to go fully all in 27 and 28 when the Faison Brandon kid shows up, who's the number 1 quarterback in the country, and he's a sophomore and junior. Like, you got to pick your shots if you're not one of these teams with just an unlimited budget like a Texas school, a Miami, or Oregon, or Ohio State. Even Michigan. Michigan's not all in this year, but when the Bryce kid is a sophomore and junior, you better believe they're going to load up that roster around him.
Yeah, he's good.
With everything they can do to max it out.
Yeah, he's good.
But, so I'm not. But I think the key is on the years you're not all in, can you be relevant? That's why my whole thing this whole year with Tennessee is just make the playoff. I don't care how you do it. Keep the momentum moving with the program, and in 2 years you load it up for a big championship run.
And I don't think
I think we have the money to do that.
Yeah.
We don't have the money to do it every year.
I don't think Tennessee has to make the playoff this year to be relevant. They're relevant. They made the playoff last year, and they've already won the Nico thing. They won it.
But yeah, well, like the schedule has worked out to the point we're playing. We have Kentucky, Arkansas, and Mississippi State on the schedule. Florida, who might be a dead body by the time we play them, and Oklahoma at home. Like,
oh no, I'm not
right
saying. I'm not saying.
make the playoff.
I'm not saying Tennessee won't make the playoff or can't make the playoff. I'm disputing. I guess I'm pushing back against the idea that if Tennessee doesn't make the playoff this year, that they're suddenly irrelevant. I don't. That to me, that's nonsensical. I don't think that impacts. Here's my thing, Mark. I don't buy program momentum very much in this era. I think that's a bygone era. You can buy yourself some momentum. Tennessee's not going to make the playoff every year, and so the year that it doesn't make the playoff, it's not going to suddenly be irrelevant. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I think that's I don't think that I don't think that passes the smell test.
Like, because my fan base, thinks Joey Aguilar is like 2019 Joe Burrow, and I'm just like, guys, we scored 13 offensive points in 58 minutes against Mississippi State. Like, slow down.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I look at the schedule. I look at the way the schedule has kind of played out, and it's right there to get back. Would have liked to have that Georgia game back, but like it's right there for you. Go do it. Win a game in the playoff. I feel pretty good about it, but I don't think by any stretch of the imagination we have zero chance to win the national championship. Like, I'm not going that far, but make the playoffs should be a very attainable goal for even with this roster.
Yeah.
And this schedule, given this schedule.
I agree with that completely. Yeah. I mean, had you not blown the Georgia game, I'd be completely in lockstep with you saying
we'd already be in the playoff. We'd probably already be in it.
You'd probably already have it locked up.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Neal.
Thanks, Mark. I don't even know what relevance means right now. Here's my thing about the SEC. Where this thing is going, if you're in the SEC, you're relevant. And you can become really relevant fast. It's why, like, SEC jobs, maybe with one or two exceptions, and probably not with any exceptions, are really good jobs. You're right there all the time at being relevant. And when they go to a 16-team playoff or beyond, more than a quarter of the league's going to make the playoffs every year. So relevance might end up being sort of year to year, but program relevance, all of those programs are relevant. Hey, who do we have?
Adam Campbell and Sugarland.
What's up, Adam? How are you?
Oh, sorry, let me turn this down. Hey, am I on right now?
Yep, you're on.
Oh, sorry. Question. So I hear all this talk about Austin Simmons would automatically go into the portal if he doesn't start the rest of the way, but he's making all this money. I mean, there's not just a scenario in which he, stays on and, comes back next year for the same money, or is his dad just so sour on the situation?
I won't get into the personal part of it. I'll just say that if he doesn't come back as the starter this year, I will be absolutely stunned. Almost to where I would have a hard time finding words if he were still there.
Okay.
I think he will leave.
All right,
I mean,
and
in fact, if you made me
make more money somewhere else,
I mean, it's going to be money. It's going to be opportunity. It's going to be ego. It's going to be feelings. I mean, look, Lane's doing the right thing. But here's the thing. You got to remember these are, I mean, I know you know this. I'm not talking down to you when I say this. Okay, so please don't take it that way. These are human beings. There are people around them who do not think rationally. He got hurt. Most people, when they get hurt, don't lose their job to injury. There's a school of thought that, hey, that's not cool to lose your job to injury. Now, Trinidad Chambliss came in. The offense was better. He has performed better to this point. And it's certainly possible that Lane Kiffin is telling the gospel truth when he says that Austin's not 100%. But there are people around Austin who think he could play right now, think he should be playing right now, and are upset that he's not playing right now. And as long as Chambliss plays this well, Lane's doing the right thing by playing him. But in this era, guys, just a guy like that's not going. He's just not. He's not going to run right. If you're Lane, let's play this out for a minute. Let's say that Chambliss finishes the season as the starter, plays well, doesn't either apply for or get a waiver for another year, and his eligibility expires. Okay. Lane's going to bring in another quarterback.
Okay.
Lane's going to bring in another quarterback. He's not just going to hand the job to Austin Simmons and go, all right, look, it's yours. AJ Maddox will be your backup, and that's it. He's going to go get another quarterback. And the people in Simmons' camp are going to say, we can't do this again. Let's go somewhere else. And that's where this is going to go. And the truth is, if Lane can do this with – so let's review Lane's quarterbacks at Ole Miss. He had Matt Corral, third-round pick, and he was a third-round pick because of things that had happened off the field. Jackson Dart, first-round pick, now the starting quarterback as a rookie for the New York Giants. He's not going to have a hard time recruiting another quarterback. They're going to want to come play for him. Guys at the top of the portal. And he's going to take them. And so I think that's where this is headed. I mean, I really do. I think Chambliss will, assuming he stays healthy, I think he'll finish the season as the starter. My guess is that Simmons doesn't play any backup snaps. He only plays if something happens to Chambliss. And then my guess is that Ole Miss has a completely different quarterback next year. It's a guess. Somewhat educated, but a guess nonetheless.
Okay. Thanks. It just seems to me that, if he's hurt and he's getting paid and, why not come back, and redo it next year? And
because you don't want to run the risk. You don't want to run the risk of losing the job. He's going to go someplace where he can be. I think he's going to go someplace where he knows he's the starter. I mean, he had, look, he turned down opportunities this past offseason inside the league that were seven-figure offers. It's just where the sport is now. I mean, everyone's a free agent, and I mean, the TV numbers indicate that the fans love it. The stadiums are full. I don't think anything's changing anytime soon. So, I mean, and if I'm an Ole Miss person, I can't get mad at Austin Simmons if he elects to leave. I can't. That's hypocritical. If not saying you'll do that, but I'm just saying anybody who does that, you can't be mad that your guy leaves and then happy that you pluck the quarterback from wherever. Just this is the way the thing works now. I mean, guys are going to leave for better offers or more opportunity or both.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes, you got it. Sure. Not sure Adam liked that answer, but it's my thoughts. Let's be honest about it. If you made me bet, I would bet that Ole Miss's quarterback next season's not on the roster today. Just a gut feeling. I think there will be a lot of quarterback movement in the portal. In the league, outside of the league, all over the country. And now that the portal's to 14 days, those 14 days are going to be insane. January the 2nd through the 16th, when guys enter the portal, and then those next 5 to 10 days after that closes before the semester starts, January is going to be bonkers. But that will be the end of it, and then there won't be an April portal unless there's an appeal that that changes. Tupelo says, Neal, do you think the playoff stays at 12 next year, or will the SEC force it to 16? I kind of think it goes to 16. And then after that, I don't know where everything goes. I think the SEC has real leverage this year because the SEC and the Big Ten have the ability to play the card of, okay, well, you know what? We don't like this system. We will go off and form our own playoff. We'll get our own TV deal, and we'll just have a Big Ten SEC playoff. The networks would pay for it. The fans would watch it. The ratings would be off the charts because you wouldn't have the crummy who's the team that's being projected now? Memphis? I mean, what gets a better TV number? Let's say Ole Miss is the 5 and Memphis is the 12. What gets a better number? Memphis at Ole Miss? And don't think about this from an Ole Miss perspective. Think about this if you're the guy sitting at home in Dubuque, Iowa. Are you more inclined to watch Memphis at Ole Miss in a playoff game, or are you more inclined to watch Indiana at Ole Miss in a playoff game? Michigan at Ole Miss in a playoff game? I mean, you know the answer. If you're the TV people, that's the game you want. You want the Big Ten SEC game on the SEC campus. You want the game last year, Tennessee at Ohio State. Got a huge number. You don't want SMU at Penn State. You want Alabama at Penn State. That's the game you want. You want Texas at Penn State. You want LSU at Penn State. You want Ohio State at LSU, Ohio State at Texas A&M, Ohio State at Ole Miss. And when you get an upstart, you don't want it to be Memphis or SMU. You want it to be Purdue or Arkansas, where they get to be Cinderella. That's where we're headed. And the SEC and the Big Ten have the ability to do that. They could pull away right now and go, we're just going to play our own playoff. You guys can have your own thing. You can call it the national championship, whatever, but we're going to play ours. So I think they'll get multiple bids. I think they'll get kind of whatever they want. Yeah, Tupelo, I agree. He says that means Ole Miss will try to get a starter somewhere, not a backup. Yeah, I think you will see Ole Miss probably add a starter that you already know his name. What am I missing here? Wicked says the Big Ten is just overall a joke conference. Wouldn't call them a joke. They're just different. They're not as it's more top heavy. They're no more than 3 to 4 even decent teams. Well, I mean, look, that's decent. Ohio State's certainly more than decent. Oregon's more than decent. USC is certainly decent. I think Indiana is potentially more than decent. Certainly decent. Illinois is decent. After that, you probably start getting into where your point gets made. Austin, thank you for the super chat. He says, hey, Neal, I'll give you a fun generic question. Me and my fiance got married. Get married in 8 months. What advice would you have for people who are about to get married? Yeah, I don't know. Probably don't turn the wedding into a super stressful thing. Let it be a fun thing, which is what it should be. Let it be a rewarding thing that you remember. Don't make it so stressful that you don't remember it. Surround yourself with people who support you. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, not with people who are giving you negative thoughts and discouraging you. And that's about it. I mean, you're young. Enjoy being young. Try to be on the same page about as many things as possible. And then don't commit, don't plan your life out to the point where you don't, like I'm big on this one. Like one of the regrets that I have, that we have, is that we waited really 3 years to have children, and then we had a miscarriage, and so it ended up being, I guess it was 4 years and about 2 months after we got married before we had our first child. I think if we had had that to do over, we would have had a child earlier, where I think we would have had more of a window to. One of our regrets is we wish we had 4 instead of 3. We would have had more time for that. So, but we were so intent on having everything, being ready to have children, and you're never ready. Like it's never this perfect time. And then my other advice would be make sure that you try to maintain really good relationships with both families, both sides of the family, but that everybody on both sides of the family knows that you two are each other's biggest priority. There's your wedding advice that no one would, marriage advice that no one should pay for. That I would not. Cousin Greg says grandparents told us never go to bed angry, make up and let each other know you love each other. I agree with that. The whole don't go to bed angry thing is smart because it festers. And then before you know it, you're mad at each other over things that you can't even remember what you were mad about. And you're going to have disagreements. You're going to have bad days, and you're going to get in a bad mood, and someone's not going to feel good and stuff like that. And you're going to get on each other's nerves. For us, we've learned over the course of 3 decades is that sometimes it's important to have me time, and that shouldn't hurt the other's feelings. I'm one of these. I have to have alone time. I have to have some time to just do something by myself, go for a ride by myself. Like even if it's like go to Chicago for a weekend by myself and go see the Cubs, or go to Chicago for a weekend, but we do different things for during the day and then meet up and go out at night or whatever. We don't have to be together. She likes to go shop sometimes that I don't want to go shop, and she shouldn't get mad at me that I don't want to shop. Or I want to go to a Cubs game, but she doesn't want to go to a Cubs game, and I shouldn't get mad at her because she doesn't want to go to a Cubs game. But it's okay to go do things by yourself, and it's good to sometimes do things by yourself. So you don't have to sit in the same room in your house night in and night out and watch the exact same show to be happily married. It's okay to go to different quarters here and there. There's my advice. All right, phone lines open. Again, this is going to be a show that is determined by you guys because I've done 3 shows already today. I did 4 shows yesterday, so I'm a little mentally fried. I'm certainly here, ready to talk, but you guys are going to have to give me some material. A lot of content up at the site. Chase put up a story earlier today about 3 players to watch for against Washington State. I've got a preview up with the Washington State site where we did the 5 questions thing, previewing the game. Pete's Pigskin preview is up. He took a look back at Ole Miss and LSU a little bit, looked ahead to Washington State. He showed some clips from the Apple Cup between Washington State and Washington. And I've now got to find the Phillies-Dodgers game because it's on TBS. Let me see if I can find that. I've got this TV on Fubo, and I don't think Fubo gets TBS, which is weird, but I don't think it does. So I'm going to find the Phillies and the Dodgers. Phillies trying to stay alive. They're down 2-1. There it is. Cubs and Brewers play later tonight. Phillies and Dodgers, no score. Top of the first, Phillies have 2 outs and now 2 outs and men on the corners. Alec Baum just took a walk on a pitch that the umpire appeared to miss from Tyler Glasnow. So Phillies threatening in the first. Hey, caller, who do we have?
Hey, Neal, it's Nick from North Carolina.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, so I think it was last week on McCready and Siskey. I heard you guys talking about offensive linemen, and you had said something about how you thought. I understood, you were saying that like because of the transfer portal, guys aren't staying in the system, and that's suffering. That's making offensive line play suffer.
Part of
but
it.
You said you thought it had something. Yeah, you said the thing I really wanted to hear you say more about was that it was a developmental issue going back to like youth.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering if you'd expand on that.
Yeah, sure. It's a developmental issue, but mostly it's a numbers issue. I just think fewer of the kids who become offensive linemen are actually playing football now. I think they play different sports. I think there's so many kids now that play exclusively baseball. And a lot of those kids used to play football and baseball, and now they play baseball year-round because if you want to be a baseball player, like in Oxford, for example, if you want to play high school baseball, you have to play baseball year-round. Otherwise, you just won't be good enough to make the team to play with I mean, a rare exception here and there. You have kids that play year-round soccer, year-round lacrosse. They don't play football. The demographic with young people, if you go back and there's a couple things. One, there's a population cliff that we're into now, and then two, there's the effects of the concussion movie. I mean, I doubt if I'm the only person who went to that movie with his wife, who after that movie, his wife said he's not playing football, referring to our son. And I mean, realistically, that happened to a lot of people. And so there's a lot of young people that a generation ago would have played football who don't now. And at the risk of people getting mad at me here, I do think the socioeconomics of football have changed a little bit. And I just think there's fewer kids that would end up offensive linemen that actually play the sport. And so you have fewer kids to choose from, which reduces your margin for error. And I mean, I've been told by college people that I'm right. I've been told by an NFL offensive lineman that I'm right, but it's just a really unpopular take. And so I'm one of the few people that's stupid enough to say it out loud.
No, I completely agree with that. I mean, 100%. Just anecdotally, like I grew up in like a small town here in North Carolina. And yeah, we were tiny on the offensive line, and it's not like there weren't kids that could have been playing football. There are probably kids on the team that should have been playing on the line, but just weren't. And I mean, I know that's anecdotal.
No, but I mean, if you think about like if you think about the 6'3", 220-pound pitcher or 6'3", 220-pound first baseman on generic high school team, right? I mean, a generation ago, that kid, yeah, he played baseball in the spring, but he played offensive tackle in the fall. Now he plays baseball all year. He plays travel ball in the fall. He plays in tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament, and then the high school season rolls around. He plays high school and then goes into the summer and back into he plays for a select team. That's a huge part of it. And you see it with.
And I think.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say too, and I think like I'm sure baseball maybe, but that's bigger down there in Mississippi. But I feel like the basketball sucked more away from us.
Yeah, it could be.
That was, and it's the same way.
Yeah.
Just year round, got to go play in the AAU,
yep.
And it's constantly going on. It's the same deal.
I mean, look, my son played soccer, and I told people this. I've never played soccer in my life. I mean, I guess I played YMCA or something when I was a kid in Louisiana, but that doesn't count. I never played soccer. But by the end of his high school career, I could look at a high school game and I could look at the 22 kids on the field and I could say club, no club, club, no club, and I'd get it right. I mean, I'd get it like 95% right. I could look at the kids and I could tell who played year round, and I could look at the kids and tell who didn't. And for the most part, the kids who didn't play. I mean, like Carson was a really good soccer player. He was all state, and had he not played club, he probably would have still been a good player, but he wouldn't have been at that level. And so it's like that in every sport. If you want to play basketball, baseball, lacrosse, soccer, you pretty much have to play and train year round, which doesn't lend to playing multiple sports, which I think sucks for kids, but it is what it is.
I completely agree. Yeah, it's and we were a small enough school that like we needed kids to play multiple sports. I mean, we had like 300-ish people in the whole school. I mean, yeah, like 8 guys on the basketball team. We were a big football team with like 30 guys. You know?
Yeah.
And that was just
and you got to play different stuff. And man, the overwhelming majority of us are never going to play college football or college whatever, and even fewer, obviously, are ever going to play for the Phillies or the Dodgers, right? So it sort of sucks that we do this to kids now, where instead of them getting to go to school and play 2-3 sports and have a lot of fun and different experiences and stuff, it just. But it is. I mean, it's that way here. It's that way at a lot of places. There just aren't many kids that are. You have to be a freak athlete now at the bigger school to play more than one sport. And when I say play, I mean actually get on the field and play.
Oh yeah, and like going back to what you said about the whole concussions and injuries and stuff, like I feel like we were kind of like the last straw too. Of like, man, we hit 3 days a week wide open for 2.5 hours, and now I see what like the same schools doing, and it's like shorts and a t-shirt, like multiple days, or shorts and shoulder pads. I mean, like multiple days a week.
Yeah,
and it's crazy how it's changed just in like the last 10 years.
Yeah, and some of that is the way football survives, right? I mean, it's why they've tried to really, and I think successfully, they've legislated targeting out of the game, which is a good thing because there's no good PR about watching guys get stretchered off a field. Nobody enjoys those moments, right? I mean, the Ole Miss Arkansas game this year where the kid for Arkansas took the knee to the head, and I mean, luckily he was fine, and they were just being precautionary, but that'll take the buzz out of a stadium fast. That's because everybody's in there thinking about, oh my God, I hope that kid's not badly hurt, right? And you want to go to a game and you want your team to win and you want to have fun, but you don't want to see people get injured, and you certainly don't want to see people suffer spinal injuries or things of that nature. And moms are pretty universal about not wanting their babies to get hurt. I mean, that's a pretty universal mom thing, So I think football's done a really good job starting at the NFL level, including the college level, of legislating a lot of that out of the game, which is a good thing.
And honestly, for a lot of people, it's not worth it, man. Like, I mean, it's not going to be your lifelong thing that you were a football player. And
no,
so,
I mean,
yeah,
Carson's 6'1", and had he played football, they would have gotten him up to 190 or something, and he probably would have been a pretty good player, and he probably would have enjoyed it. And there were times where he was like, I wish y'all would have let me play. And I'll be honest, man, there was never a moment where I thought, yeah, I kind of wish we'd let you play too. I was always like, I'm glad you didn't play. And if that makes me a wuss or whatever word you want to use, then it is what it is. I mean, I would have been a nervous wreck watching him collide with huge people on a football field. And I know there are a lot of people that do it and love it, and I've made a living off of it. I love the game. I'm so glad we play the games played, because it's been phenomenal to me. But I would be a hypocrite if I sat here and said that I didn't have those same thoughts as a dad, because I did.
Oh yeah, well, and just as one last thing, I'll let you get somebody else going if you want. But yeah, I mean, it's like anything in life. You just eventually you got to let people do what they want, and it's gonna keep going. I mean, and it's great that you have, you recognized it and said like, no, we're not comfortable with that. But at the same time, you have a career, you enjoy the game, I think, for the most part.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do, and we want to have it as an entertainment product.
I do, but I mean, I'm one of those people that, yeah, I love the entertainment product, but man, when like the kid was down on the field for Arkansas and he wasn't moving, I was just kind of sick. You know, it was like,
That's scary.
it's scary because you don't want that. I mean, I was at the Chucky Mullins game. I was in that end zone. I saw it.
Yeah.
And that was horrible. You know, you don't want to see those types of things happen. And you know, I don't fault the people who decide that they don't want to play. They want to play other sports. I don't think that makes them less of a man or any of that stuff. I don't buy any of that.
I'm glad to hear somebody with a platform saying stuff about it like this and like having guts or whatever you want to say to come out and say it.
The stupidity to say it out loud. Yeah. It's stupidity. Yeah, that's what it is. It's because look, man, it's a game that people are passionate about, and I am too. I mean, I played. I wasn't any good, but I played. Yeah. And I mean, I've been around it my whole life, and like I said, I've made a living off of it. So, I mean, I'm not trashing the game. I just at all. And in fact, I like I said, I think they did the smart thing a few years ago where they realized, hey, we can't allow people to just projectile leading with their head. We've got to find a way to legislate that out of the game. And I think for the most part, they've done it. And I actually think it's made it, even though, like, if you think about it, we get fewer and fewer targeting controversies now. It doesn't, it really doesn't happen very much. And that's because they've been able to discourage players from doing it to the point that it's not happening nearly as much.
Well, and you even see, like, they're just teaching them to tackle differently now. Like the whole stripping the ball thing.
Well, you don't want you don't want your players kicked out of the game. So, you don't.
No.
If you're Pete Golding, you don't want to lose 4 defensive starters to targeting. So you teach the game fundamentally differently. Yeah. I mean, and you enforce those rules inside your practices and things of that nature. And over the course of time, new habits are developed. As much as there was some growing pains with some of the targeting calls and stuff like that, I don't think there's any question they were smart to do it.
Yeah, that's like I said, I completely agree with you, man. And it's a sport I love too, but it's just it's not worth it for a lot of people at the college level, and then even the games at high school that you don't get to see on TV. It's happening everywhere.
Well, hey, I appreciate the call very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for all the content.
Thank you. Bye. Let's see. Someone asked me if I've spoken on Sean Padula becoming a Portland Trailblazer. I haven't. I think it's great. I really like Sean. He was fun to cover last year. I like his family. I mean, he's just a gritty player. Chris Beard's system was good for him because it forced him to become a better ball handler. He can shoot it. He understands the game really, really well. He became a better defender. I don't know the details of Sean's deal. I would suspect that it's a 2-way and he's going to play. Hang on, caller. I'm going to get right to you in a second. I would suspect this means he's going to play some G League.
In a second.
And he's going to be a 2-way guy, which will be good for him. There are players like Sean Padula that find a role in the NBA. And his role would be a reserve guard who came in, defended well, could make some shots, and could ball handle. That would be his role. And I thought he took some strides toward that last season. He's got a really high basketball IQ, and good for him. And look, it's good for the Ole Miss program if they can get some NBA presence, because it's one of the things that in the past era, I think really hurt them on the recruiting trail, is that there was no NBA presence at all with the program. And, fans can say, I hate the NBA, whatever. Well, college basketball players do not hate the NBA. They watch a ton of it. They love it. And for 90% of them at the high level, that's their goal, is to play in the NBA. So that's good for Sean. It's good for Ole Miss. And I really like Sean. So I hope it works out. Hey, caller, who's this?
Hey, Neal, it's Ivan.
Hey, Vibin, what's up, man?
Not much. Happy it's almost Friday. Been a weird week. So I think I've told you this. I'm a contractor with a branch of the federal government. So this is the first time I've gone through a government shutdown. So it's been fascinating to see how that all plays out.
What's that been like?
Just a lot of meetings, like going over like, hey, this is the procedure stuff. Because, my dad, he worked as a contractor for the federal government for 2 decades. And it was one of those deals where, if he did get furloughed, he just saved up all his PTO. So he didn't really have to worry about it. It's been interesting, though. And look, this is one of those things they always tell you, like, hey, we think the shutdown is going to last this amount of time. But at the same time, there's no really, like, solid footing for them to base that on.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah. But it's been fascinating. I think I've told you and Chase this a couple of times. Since February, just that whole realm of my work life has been fascinating, just with all the executive orders and stuff. And hell, I think I called you guys in or called into the show right after I had interviewed for a job with NASA, and I thought I got it, and then it got canceled. Yeah, I was 100% told, like, hey, man, we think we're going to get you in, before, the hiring freeze takes place. And then Trump was sworn in, and then the following day, that just went up.
It just disappeared. It just didn't exist anymore. Yeah.
I was like, whoa, wait a second. What happened to that? They were like, well, and then just like 2 minutes into the explanation, I'm like, I don't even care what the real explanation is. I'm just mad now. But that's just part of it, man. But I want to say maybe my favorite episode of McCready and Siskey was today.
Really? Why?
Well, for multiple reasons. It was, and I posted this on the board, Tyler's line of, here I was, thought they were being assholes, and then I realized I was the asshole because I was picking on a bunch of old men.
Yeah.
If I could not, I've been on paying you and Chase for message board privileges for 8 years now, and I don't know if there's a line I can relate more to than that one.
Yeah, I had sort of tried to tell him that, and it obviously fell on deaf ears. That I was like, hey, you're arguing with the wall, and he's just.
Y'all were just pissing off everyone this week.
We pissed off a lot of people. AJ pissed off all the Missouri people. I got in that. I keep getting notifications, and I'm like, and then I realized it's AJ, and I'm like, oh, they're just mad at him. And like I said, man, I was just doing a Monday show by myself, and you're just talking, and I said that about Lebby, and I did not, in the moment, I did not think that was a big deal. And within hours, I'd gotten a couple of calls, and I was like, oh, damn it, what did I say? And I went back and listened to it, and I'm like, there's 18 caveats there, but
I didn't even hear what you said. I just looked on the board at the thread that got started. I was like, oh boy.
I just
better watch out, man. Don't piss off that Golden Triangle Mafia.
They are. All fan bases are crazy. All fan bases are crazy. I'm a Cubs fan. Cubs fans are crazy. So I'm not making fun of anybody. Every single fan base has an element of craziness to it. But man, some just really get provincial and circle the wagons. And I didn't say he's leaving. Coaches use other jobs as leverage all the time. All the time. Literally every single season, coaches use jobs as leverage. All I said was that he was exploring, and it doesn't mean he's doing it. It means people around him are doing it. And look, there are jobs that are open that make sense. I don't know. But this is where me not being emotional probably hurts me, because I don't think about it in those. I should have just kept my mouth closed. It was a dumb thing to say, even though it's true. I heard his name connected to 2 specific jobs. Doesn't mean he can get them or that he would want them. I mean, both of those things. I don't know whether he could get either of those jobs. I don't know whether he would want either of those jobs. I don't know. And I said as much.
And I'll say this about Levy. And look, I've got a lot of thoughts there because I don't know. I don't want to get into all that. But the problem for him, I think, is if he were to try to get another, just in the SEC, get another job, the problem is this is probably, I would think, the year schools are really going to consider Sumrall and Womack. I would think that's fair. That's a fair statement, you know. Maybe they're not. I mean, I'm pretty sure John Sumrall's going to be on a few hot boards this
Yeah, I'll say this about John. I think John will have choices to make. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't stay at Tulane. I do think he'll have opportunities.
I'm not trying to cut you off, but I think if this was 6 years ago, I think he'd be getting ready to accept a head coaching job at Kentucky. But with the current climate, I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, and so here's, like, take John, for example. This is why I think when people do the whole – I've seen it with Kentucky. I've seen it with Arkansas. Here's the thing. If you can get an SEC head coaching job, number one, it's generational money. It's generational wealth. Number two, these are not people who lack confidence, right? John Sumrall doesn't ever go to bed at night thinking he's not a really good football coach. Like he thinks he could do a really good job. Now, someone's got to fail. There's 16 teams. Someone's got to finish 16th. But hey, I could fail here is just not a real prevalent thought.
That's not how these people are wired. That's not how coaches
1,000,000%. Like, it's one of the reasons I've said in recruiting, the worst source you can ever have in recruiting is a coach. The worst. The very worst. Because if I ask 8 coaches that are recruiting the same kid, are you getting him? You know how many will say they're getting him? 8.
Yeah.
That's just how these people are wired. And like it's why you sometimes see a lot of reporters get burned and they'll come back and tell you, man, I had really good sources, and the sources were the coaches. I mean, the coaches.
Well, I'll give you an example. I don't know if you remember this. It was the morning A.J. Brown signed with Ole Miss, and that was a pretty big shocker because a lot of people just didn't think they were going to be able to land that big of a high-profile recruit out of Starkville.
Yeah.
I don't think Freeze and them realized they lost Jeffrey Simmons until 30 minutes beforehand.
Literally,
I'm not even sure if they knew.
Hey, Vibin, the moment that Jeffrey Simmons was taking the stage to do his thing, Hugh Freeze called me, going, "What have you heard?" And I'm like, "Are you serious? You don't know?"
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, coaches that's just how they're wired. They're all wired that way.
The funny thing about that too is that was back when I was in college. I was at Ole Miss, and that was when, I don't know if Mississippi Sports Talk was still kind of a big thing. They had like college forums, and it'd be like a mix of Ole Miss and State fans. You know who was the one on that message board that chimed in after A.J. Brown signed with Ole Miss and said Simmons is going to Mississippi State?
Who?
Brandon Walker.
Oh.
His name wasn't Brandon Walker, but I found out after the fact that the username he was using, that's who he was. That was
Gotcha.
Obviously before he got on the Barstool. I just always found that funny.
That is funny.
Because I thought Jeffrey Simmons was still signing with Ole Miss, because I remember I saw him on the square, and we had friends that were on the football team that all said, yeah, he's coming to Ole Miss. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get A.J. Brown and Jeffrey Simmons, which would have been insane.
It would have been insane, and I think he was coming until he wasn't. You know, that was a different era of recruiting. But it's one of those deals where
capital got cleared up for Mississippi State the minute they realized they did not have to pay A.J. Brown.
Yeah, and it was back in that era. You could be right about something until you were wrong, and and people go, well,
Chris Jones says hi.
Yeah, people would. Look, I got in the car that morning to drive to Houston, and then I got a call going, hey, don't go. And so I didn't. I mean, I went to Crete, Illinois for Laquan Treadwell's thing, and I was 90-something% sure, but man, that other 4 or 5% was like, oh my God, this is going to be one hell of a humiliating deal if this kid, not because people be like, oh, you went all the way to basically suburban Chicago for a high school announcement, and then the kid goes to Oklahoma State or wherever. I mean, it was good. That was, yeah, I was going to be the butt of some jokes, right? I mean, and that, it's just a different era. Now I think now it's a little different. I don't think there's as much drama around it now because schools are not.
There isn't.
Schools like Lane, for example, said it out loud the other day, I guess a couple of weeks ago, that it really sometimes it's best to finish second. Let somebody else overpay, and then if it doesn't work out, you get them at the market value, the valuation that you had for them. So, I mean, that.
Well, the perfect example of that is, and look, this might have bit Ole Miss in the ass last year, is when Judkins left and then they lost out on Lacey like a couple hours before he signed. I'm not saying Lacey would have been what he is this year in 2024.
Yeah.
But because I remember thinking, oh, wow, that they were really hell-bent on signing that Lacey kid out of Texas, and he did not play at all as a freshman. I was like, maybe they just missed on that evaluation. And then sure enough, he doesn't play at all as Missouri. I guess he probably got a little disgruntled.
Yeah.
Transfers to Ole Miss, and now he's one of the better running backs Lane has had since he's been here.
Yeah, it just shows you how volatile it is and how it's just kind of, I mean, he's a great example. He ends up at Missouri. They kind of overpaid for him. He didn't play. They really didn't fully believe in him. He was a little disgruntled. He leaves. They go out and get Ahmad Hardy from ULM. And I mean, Ahmad Hardy's been terrific at Missouri, and Keywan Lacey's been terrific at Ole Miss. It's why, I mean, speaking of like Tyler's good friends on the board, I mean, some of the older people that are pretty dead set in recruiting being the way that recruiting's always been, they're going to hate us, and because we don't cover it that way, and it's not laziness or any of that stuff, because you can go back and look at our early Rebel Grove days when we were, I guess it was Rebel Grove, and then Rebel Grove went to this on 3, and now they've dropped Rebel Grove, but they're keeping the name. It's all confusing vibing. But back in those days, we covered recruiting hard. Like, I mean, look, I went to Chicago for Laquan Treadwell's announcement. We covered recruiting. I was the only one there. I went and spent a day with Beverly Kimdichie in Georgia. We covered recruiting. That era of recruiting's over. And you have a coach that says out loud, he's not going to overpay. They're not going to make an emotional thing. They're not going to pay a kid more because he's from Tupelo or Gluckstadt or Ocean Springs, or fill in the name of your favorite Mississippi city. He's not going to do it.
Well, and look, I know we like to pile on him, and some of it's justified, but I think in a lot of ways that is what is biting Hugh Freeze in the ass right now.
Absolutely.
With some of these kids, especially out of Mississippi. And look, I look, he's from basically my hometown. Jamonte Wilder, he was a 5-star, recruit. Was really hoping he signed with Ole Miss, but I mean, at the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, there's only 2 people on that staff that are able to sign off on overpaying for a kid if they think he's worth it, and it's Lane Kiffin and Pete Golding.
That's correct.
Yes. And they just evaluated the kid and was like, look, I mean, looks like a great player, but we're not going to pay that much for a high school kid that we don't know if he's going to translate. And to their credit, and like I said, I'm cheering for the kid. He has not played at Auburn at all, and he was a 5-star recruit.
I mean, I challenged someone on this the other day. It was playfully. And I said, name me the freshmen around the country, true freshmen, who are playing at the Power 4 level at a high impact level.
For this season,
Yeah,
I couldn't
right.
name you one.
Right,
Now, last
right
year,
now. Yeah, name me one right now. I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just saying in general. Name me all of these high-level true freshmen who are impacting their teams at the Power 4 level right now.
I couldn't think of one, honestly, but I've kind of been a little checked out and not following. Yeah.
There's a wide receiver.
You're not calling me out. It's just.
No. I mean, I know, but we're making the point, right? You watch a lot of football. I mean, I did this with Jeffrey the other day, and he said, well, there's a receiver at Miami. And I said, okay, well, there's one. Like, there's one. Sure. I mean, are there some players who qualify? Of course. But the point is there are not many. And now everyone's doing the portal. Because you can go get the portal, you can go get Ahmad Hardy, right? Let's take ULM last year. Ahmad Hardy is impacting at Missouri, no question. Wyatt Williams Jr. is impacting at Ole Miss, no question. Those players got development time at ULM. We can all make Sunbelt jokes or whatever. Sunbelt's a pretty good brand of football. Those guys get development time at those places. You get to scout them.
Yeah, that is one of a few G4, G5 conference that actually has an identity.
Yeah,
it has good football teams there.
Wicked says Winnie Watkins, who is beginning to emerge as a player for Ole Miss. So there's one.
I didn't even think that kid was going to see significant playing time, though, until 2 weeks ago when they just started throwing him out there against LSU.
Yeah.
I had to ask my brother, who is that kid? Who's 17? He didn't know either.
But he counts. He counts. I mean, they got him in and he counts. I mean, so they're, I mean, look, I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying they're few and far between. And so the point is that when you're covering a program like we are at Ole Miss, where they're just not going to go overpay on these high school kids, they're not going to be emotional about it. They're going to recruit them. They're going to recruit them hard. They're going to get mama and the aunts and the grandmas and all that stuff into the building, and they're going to, wine them and dine them and tell them how awesome they are, and they're going to take the visits and all of that stuff. But if somebody else overpays, they're just going to let it go. They're not going to go, oh, okay. No one's going to have the meeting that goes, all right, look, we just have to have this kid. Here's another $250,000 that's going to come out of our budget that's going to cost us 3 players out of the portal. They're just not going to do it. Now, you can argue that they should, and there are people that argue that they should. And that's fine. Those people are absolutely entitled to their opinion. It doesn't change the reality that they're not going to do it. And so for us, from a coverage standpoint, this is what I was getting at a minute ago, we're not going to do breathless recruiting coverage of kids that are high school sophomores. We're just not going to do it.
It's going to have to be during the portal period.
Yeah, we'll work our asses off in the portal because those are kids that are coming right now to play right now. But we're not. I'm not doing the breathless 2028, 2029 recruiting stuff. Not doing it. I think it's disingenuous. I think you're lying to your subscribers, and I just won't do it. And if that costs me a subscriber here and there, it just does. But at the end of the day, people are going to know that we're not lying to them. We'll tell them, and we'll cover the portal hard because the portal's a completely different. It's a mad rush, and you're recruiting guys that are coming in. Everyone knows that it's about money and nothing but money, and maybe a little opportunity here and there. But those are kids that are coming into play right away.
Yeah. So last thing, can y'all get Eddie Radosevich on the pod the week of the Oklahoma game?
Yeah, I'll get Eddie on. He's been great. Eddie's fun.
Yeah,
Eddie's awesome.
So
he's
happy.
funny.
I listened to the podcast with you and Gabe, and then I looked it up, and I was, oh my gosh, I laughed my ass off for a few minutes. I think he's still posting.
Yeah. You want to hear a funny?
Yeah,
you want to hear a funny post? Here's a funny. This is Pete Thamel. I mean, you talk about covering all your bases with one thing here. Pete writes, Oklahoma sources. Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer is in line to attempt to play against Texas on Saturday. His injured right hand will be monitored, and there's no certainty he'll be able to go. He's listed as questionable. I mean, that is the biggest nothing burger of a post.
Well, the funny thing was, and Jeffrey pointed this out, he was like, Oklahoma dressed him out the week before, and then the week they play Texas, they just start practicing in the IPF.
Yeah.
Which I'm on record here. If Mateer is playing versus Ole Miss, I think Georgia's the more winnable game.
Yeah, could be. I mean, both of those places are tough places to win. I think they're both going to be really interesting games. I've said what I said earlier in the week, and I think I'm right. I think both of those games are winnable. I think both of those games are losable, and everything from 2-0 to 1-1 to 0-2 is absolutely on the table.
I am pretty hell-bent on this. I think this 3-game stretch after Washington State, at Georgia, at Oklahoma, and then how they rebound or just play against South Carolina, it's the biggest 3-game stretch for Ole Miss football in a very long time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because if they go 2-1, you're not – at that point, depending on what Florida looks like, you're not just talking about making the playoffs. You're talking about Atlanta. You're talking about seeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about the whole thing.
Right.
You're talking about you're talking about going to Atlanta to play.
1 seed on the line.
Yeah, you're talking about going to Atlanta with an opportunity to be one of the top 4 seeds and have it off until the Sugar Bowl or the Cotton Bowl or whatever. And yeah, absolutely. I agree completely. If they win two of the 3. Yeah, if they win 2 of the 3, that's absolutely on the table. Thanks, Fiben.
But all right, man, appreciate it.
Grind says Jared Smith at Auburn has been good. Yeah, I mean they're examples, but the point is there aren't tons of them. There's no rash of incoming freshmen that are walking into today's college football just dominating the sport because the sport's gotten older. Because the young players from the group of 5 and stuff, they're going to the bigger schools as seasoned players and preventing that from happening. Bryce Harper just made a diving stop at first base, cost the Dodgers a run, sends that game into 3rd inning scoreless in Los Angeles. Hey, who do we have? Hey, caller, you're on.
Yo, it's Grind.
Hey, Grind, what's up, man?
Oh, man, hanging in there, man, after a long day of work, but hanging along with that, man, enjoying the show.
Thank you.
Oh, boy. I mean, in my opinion, I think you're going to have a snooze on your hands this weekend, man, in Oxford. I'm taking Ole Miss to cover. I feel good about that number. I know it opened up at like 34 or something, and it doesn't dwindle down, but I done seen enough from Ole Miss, under Lane Kiffin to know that, man, these games, they get covered, man. Washington State is no much better than who was the chain snatching team that Ole Miss played? Was that which Georgia directional school was that?
Early in the season, Georgia State.
They're no much better than Georgia State.
Yeah,
probably worse, to be honest with you.
I'm with you. I picked Ole Miss to cover. I didn't put it on my picks with McCready and Siskey because A, I didn't want to play into the whole Homer thing this week after everything that had happened, and then B, I mean, there is a scenario where Kiffin looks at this thing at the first part of the 3rd quarter and goes, all right, I'd love to score more, but you know what? We go to Athens this time next week. Let's get out of here. And I don't think that's what he does because he's not really wired that way, but there's a world where he does it, so I mean, he's not.
It's just, I mean, I don't think covering has to do about capability of Washington State. And I don't think, I mean, I think Ole Miss backups are better than the Washington State starters. I mean, they're bad, man.
I do too. Look, I'm planning on writing a column that essentially goes, okay, here we go. I mean, that's basically my. I mean, I'm not planning to spend a hell of a lot of time writing about the Washington State game. I'm going to write about, well, here comes this back-to-back road trip that we've been talking about since the spring. It's here, and Ole Miss is 6-0, and everything's on the racket. And we're about to find out whether this team is a contender, a pretender, or somewhere in between. I mean, that's essentially what I'm going to write. And I mean, this is a day where I plan to be finished with the bulk of my writing by the 3rd quarter. I mean, just done. I'm not going to dramatize the Washington State game unless there's like an injury that is that requires you to say, hey, things changed, and there's just no world where this is an upset. I mean, I got asked that question today on a show. Is there a world where this is an upset? And I said, no.
Yeah, no. Do you think conference realignment would have impacted them in Oregon State like it had? I mean, man,
they're homeless.
They're barely G5 level.
I mean, they're like the kid whose family just left them. Yeah, that impacts them. Yeah, I mean, dramatically. I mean, not only did the parents just leave, but they picked up the brothers and sisters and took the grandmother and grandfather and everything and just left the kid on the side of the road and said, good, fend for yourself, bud. Good luck.
How do you go from being able to you went from being able to compete, in the Pac-10, Pac-12 to getting your ass kicked by North Texas?
You went from trying to make it to the Rose Bowl.
How was it that?
It's brutal. It's why I say this all the time. Like whoever got Ole Miss into the SEC, and I think we came up with the guy's name a few shows ago. That dude needs to have a statue on campus. He's that dude was big, because when you don't have same for Auburn, right? I mean, whoever got Auburn into the SEC,
I was gonna say, Auburn,
anybody.
Mississippi State. I think more so for schools. I mean, I think Ole Miss, Alabama, like state schools. I think you were kind of more safe. But I think if you're what they consider a secondary school, I mean you should really be counting your lucky stars.
But I mean, Washington State was not that long ago. Ryan Leaf had Washington State in the Rose Bowl. Keith Jackson was calling the game, and it was a big deal. I mean, I know it was a long time ago, but it wasn't that long ago.
I mean, if you're covering Washington State, if you were running Washington State 247? What would you be saying to the fans to try to say I mean, would you be thinking about probably having to do something else?
Yeah, I would be writing the column that goes, "It's been real. See ya." I mean, come on. Their attendance is down, morale is down. All their players left. They have like 70 new players on their team this year. I mean, in all seriousness for a minute, if you're a Washington State fan, there's nothing fun about this.
No.
I mean, there's
nothing fun about. No, what you about to say?
I was just gonna say there's nothing fun about all the jokes. We all make the jokes. Like Chris Beard today, as we finished basketball thing, he looked at me and goes, "Washington State any good?" I'm like, "They're leading the Pac-2." And he started laughing. I mean, and we laughed. And then I thought to myself, I'm an ass. I mean, right? Because, I mean, if some guy's like 65 years old and he's cheered for Washington State all of his life and he bought season tickets and he's gone to the games and now instead of playing USC and UCLA and Arizona State and Washington and Oregon, they're playing like North Texas and Neal McCready Tech. I mean, that sucks.
And it's not even the fact that you could go, like, I'm pretty sure when they were probably like, okay, look, we're getting left by these other schools, but we should be able to kick Colorado State's butt. We should be able to beat up on New Mexico and whoever else we're finna line up against. And it's like, no, you're 0-5 or 1-4 or whatever. And I mean, they live in a world where honestly, I think Memphis or South Florida has a better chance of making the playoffs every year than they do.
Oh, absolutely. At 100%. Yeah, I mean, I just put myself in that guy's position. I mean, what's he going to do at 65? Go adopt a new team? That's his team, and it sucks. I mean, it does. It sucks. And, I mean, Kiffin said this earlier this week, and he was right. Yeah. And he said this conference, that I think the word he used was sad. And it is. It is sad. I mean, I mean, the SEC is so powerful that you don't feel the sadness, right? There's nowhere in the SEC where this is sad. But look,
so you wouldn't have any problem with a Washington State fan having animosity towards the SEC and Big Ten?
No.
Would you find that legitimate animosity, or would you say, man, get over? You got to get over?
No, I would. I mean, no, it'd be legitimate, of course. I mean, if you're a Washington State fan and you look up and your arch rivals now the school that you had the Apple Cup with and the whole deal, and it's not that long ago the Apple Cup was a big deal. I mean, Mike Price's days,
Big deal. Yeah.
and now it's meaningless. Yeah. They kill you by 5 touchdowns because they're just significantly better than you with more talent, and they're playing.
They're not even the upper crust of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They're like middling.
But they're playing Michigan and Michigan State and Penn State and Ohio State, and they're still playing USC and Oregon and UCLA, and you're playing. Who are you even playing? Colorado State? Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, I don't blame them for having animus. Of course, I mean, sure, I'd be bitter as hell.
Over under 750 Washington State fans.
Under.
Ooh.
It's just, I mean, the only ones that are going to come are family. I mean, players' families will come.
You don't think there's enough people in that fan base that at the beginning of the season saw, hey, man, look, they're going to the Grove and SEC country. We can see what
morale's dead.
That's good.
I mean, it will literally be family members of players. They'll bring a little official delegation and players' families and moms and dads and grandmothers and stuff like that. I mean, and those people will walk around and they'll look at this town and they'll look at the Grove and stuff. But no.
That's it. Well, in better news, the Aggies have been good to you boys so far. That the future, I mean, that thing couldn't be it's looking better than my LSU future. Who would have thought?
I know. Hey, Jeffrey and I talked about this morning. Jeffrey and I, we both took the pledge. We both promised that we would not imbibe in the Texas A&M Kool-Aid. Oh, but grind. It.
Yes.
It looks
good.
This
is like the first. Yes, dude. You know, like the old school like cartoon shows where they be like at the fair and somebody throws the ball that hits the target and the person gets dunked into the pool.
Yeah.
I'm just lining up. Yeah, just put me on the diving board, dunk me in the Kool-Aid again.
Yeah.
Please hit the target.
Dunk
me again, baby.
I am watching the bartender pour draft after draft of the Texas A&M Kool-Aid brew, and it looks magnificent. And then I'm watching the people drink it, and as they drink it, they just look so happy, and they're looking at the guy's taking a few sips, and he looks at his friend and goes, "This is awesome. Have you tried this?" And I have so much FOMO right now because I want that brew, and yet I know I just tell myself, hang tight. The sour is coming. It's going to go. It's going to go rancid.
It could be this week.
It could be.
As a person who holding, they could lose to Florida. Like that is not off the cards.
Hey, by the way, Grind.
I'm taking Florida.
Hey, Grind.
Florida,
Wicked says that there's 4 Washington State fans sitting at Bourrée, which is a bar in a restaurant in Oxford. He says they're sitting there right now. So we're 4 of our way to 750. So we just need 746 more. There's 4 right there on Thursday night. Thank you, Wicked, for telling me that.
Okay. Well, there you go. But I mean, and look, I know we call them weird and whatnot, but maybe they know they're weird because when they all rebelled, because we got to give them credit. I know it's early and they still got the chance to screw this thing up and still go 8-4.
Yep.
But there is no doubt about it. When they rebelled against Ross Bjork and Mark Stoops and said, "Give us Elko," they were right.
Yes.
I mean, I got to put my hands up in the air. I got to say, well, God damn.
Yep.
I don't know what y'all weird ass are.
I know. Hey,
I don't know.
There are 2 schools in the league where the fans rose up and said, nope. And they both look smart right now.
They do. But I mean, like, out of all the coaches, you cry about, like, you rebel for Elko. That's why I was like, this makes no sense. But I mean, look at him. I mean, all I'm gonna say is, look, baby. I hope y'all do what y'all. I hope Haggy Appies means a happy grind. So I'm got a future with y'all. So No, go ahead with your bad
Oh,
stuff.
I mean the whole Texas A&M thing. With every progressive week where they win, you go, huh? This gets interesting. Like this thing is a couple of wins away. Let me pull their schedule. Let's see what they got. I got to get my readers out, Grind. I can't. All right. So far they're unblemished. Got Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give them a win. They go to Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a win. They go to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's problematic, but it's winnable.
I would say that's a loss. I'd say that's a loss.
Okay.
It's winnable, but I'll give them a loss.
All right. Then they get a weekend off. They go at Missouri. Interesting. Home against South Carolina. Home against South Carolina. That should be a win. Samford's a win. And then on that Friday, the same day that Ole Miss plays Mississippi State, they go at Texas.
It will be so interesting how A&M handles that game if they come in as the higher ranked team with more on the line than Texas. If Texas already has 3 to 4 losses and they're sitting there at 10-1, it will be interesting to see how A&M, because their whole credence is y'all don't think we're as good as Texas, and you look at Texas and get all mesmerized when we're the best, and okay, all right.
I mean here
you go.
The whole cult song. The whole cult song is about two things. One is, hey, we're going to saw your horns off. And then after that, they do it again and they go, we just sawed your horns off. The whole thing is about them. So they can't turn around and go, hey, this game doesn't matter. No, I mean, your whole identity is about sawing the horns off. Everything is horns down.
And I know the way they put pressure on that game, it's cool when you're an underdog because you can, come out the gates and, you're swinging and you're sawing the hell and back, all the horns on the floor and all this other stuff. Yeah. But when you're favored and people are like, hey, look, A&M should win this game and we should see them in Atlanta, and that turns into tightness.
Oh, and on top of it, nobody has led the Arch Sucks cheer more than them. And can you imagine if it's tight early fourth quarter and Arch hits a couple of passes and you're like, oh my God, not only are we going to lose and get knocked out, but we're going to get knocked out by the guy that we've been making fun of for a year and calling a loser and all this. No, the tightness, it would be there.
We would all feel it through the screen. We would all feel it through the screen.
Yeah. I mean,
I want A&M to be in a position where that game doesn't matter, because I've said this for years and I was right last year. When those two teams are on the screen playing each other, it is too easy to root for Texas. It is just too easy to do it.
I know it's every time I go into that game every year going, I'm going to cheer for A&M, and by the second quarter, I'm all horns. I don't know.
All horns.
It reminds me of, I've told this story. I took, when Carson was a little boy, I took him to a NHL playoff hockey game in St. Louis. It was his first hockey game ever, and he wanted a jersey or whatever. And so I got him a Blues jersey, and he had a Blues hat. And all of a sudden, second period kicks in, and he kind of realizes the Blackhawks are from Chicago, and he's a Cubs fan, and he starts kind of shifting. And by the end of the game, he's cheering hard for the Blackhawks wearing his Blues gear. Yeah, it's one of those things, like, it's just hard to cheer for A&M, man. It's hard, and it's why so far I have been able to, even though I watch the bartender pour the brew, I have not had a single sip.
And look, you could end up being right. It's a long night. It's a long weekend. It's a long weekend of partying, so you could be right. Before I let you go, I know, man, why did your boy Siski, he just couldn't stay away from the Auburn well? He just couldn't stay away, huh?
I don't know. I
know.
Listen,
I know.
I can't.
I know. He was his friend. You did the right thing on Neal's pick.
Yeah.
You did the right thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I think Georgia's winning the game. I do.
I'm going fishing this weekend. That's what I think about the game.
All right,
I'm going fishing.
All right, let me ask you a question, because you're in that fan conundrum. You don't believe in Hugh Freeze. I already know that.
Mm-mm.
But you're an Auburn fan, and this is a rival. And beating Georgia, I covered Auburn for a long time. I know that beating Georgia is meaningful to Auburn. Deep down in your heart of hearts, and be honest, do you want a win or do you want the loss that just cuts the throat?
No, I mean, I want to beat Georgia. I want to beat Georgia. Like, people don't understand. I want to beat Georgia every year more than I want to beat Alabama.
Oh,
that's why this hurts so bad.
When I covered Auburn,
that's why this hurts so bad.
When I covered Auburn, there were so many Georgia kids on that team that literally I can remember sort of asking around with people and people being like, "You can't write that. You can't write that. You can't write that." And I'd be like, "But am I right?" And they're like, "You're kind of right, but you can't write it." The truth was, back then, they would play Georgia and then turn around and play Alabama. And there were times with that team, like Ben Leard and those guys, those were Georgia kids. They wanted to beat Georgia so bad that Alabama was almost a letdown.
I can believe it. And that's how Auburn's always been successful, when you take those kids from Georgia and Florida. And, you know, that's just been the blueprint at Auburn. But with Hugh Freeze, man, it's just I'm not finna get on the media soapbox. I don't care about another rant. Like, that rant I had, that was all I had, and I'm done with it. That's why I'm going fishing this weekend, man. Because I don't like benching. Like, I stopped listening to anything people say when they put benching Jackson Arnold as an option on the table. I don't understand how that can be an option for Hugh Freeze without him turning in his pink slip himself.
100%.
You're firing yourself.
100%.
In my opinion.
100%.
Jackson Arnold.
100%. No, he hitched his wagon to Jackson Arnold, and he's got to figure out a way to get Jackson Arnold to win the race. That is the bottom line.
And Neal,
100%. But hey, Grind, I know this guy. And look, I like Hugh Freeze. We've had nice conversations in the past. I've sat in a room one-on-one with him. His daughter has spent the night at my house when the girls were younger. I mean, this is not personal. It's not. I swear it's not. This guy does not have it in him. It's not in him to go, no, I'm going to attach myself to this guy. I'm going to take the high road. I'm going to back the kid. We're going to develop the kid. We're going to figure out a way to get there. It's never going to be his fault.
And people can slam me on whatever they say. Like, I know what I see and what I think of a player. And Jackson Arnold isn't as bad as what Hugh Freeze is making him look. And, like, damn, it's got me rethinking whole Payne Thorne shit now.
But even
excuse my language.
But even if he is bad, let's play this out. Even if he is bad, Hugh Freeze was the one that decided that he was going to. Nobody, to my knowledge, put a gun to Jackson Arnold's head. I mean, to Hugh Freeze's head, and said, "Hey, you either bring Jackson Arnold to Auburn or." No one did that. That's not how it worked. He is the one that went after Jackson Arnold. He brought him in. He said, "This is the answer." In the same way that a year before,
$2 million so he wouldn't go to.
A year before,
$2 million so he wouldn't go to Mississippi State. That's crazy.
Yeah, Peyton Thorne did not put a gun to Hugh Freeze's head and said, "If you don't let me stay," that didn't happen. You can blame the kid all you want, not you. You know what I mean. People can do that with the kid all they want. I mean, this is on him.
No.
This is on him.
I'm not blaming.
He evaluated. He took him. I don't think Jackson Arnold held Hugh Freeze hostage. I really don't. Now, if someone can prove to me that he did, I mean, obviously I'm being hyperbolic. He didn't. Auburn went to Jackson Arnold and made the offer. That's who took him. He was perfectly willing to go to Mississippi State and play for Jeff Lebby.
Yeah. His biggest mistakes, I mean, the thing about it is you pick Peyton Thorne for year one, and then you're first off, you lose to New Mexico State, and then you double down on Peyton Thorne for year two, and you're worse.
And you're the offensive genius. You're the offensive guru. I mean, and he does the deal with Derek Nix and Ken Austin and who's calling plays and all that stuff. It's just,
my gosh,
it's all.
And it looks so bad now. In hindsight, like releasing that info, however that came out, if you're the Auburn media and you really want to protect Hugh Freeze, that was the worst thing you could have did, because now it looks so. I mean, hell, like it's it's just, prime material to just poke fun at and laugh and like, oh, maybe they really are doing it. And my thing is, like, when I called before the Oklahoma game and how I just had to change the tune, like, in hindsight, I had to sit back, during the bye week and I had to think about it, man. I realized why I had my change of tune, but I couldn't pinpoint it. And it was because it wasn't even about football. Just when I think about it, it was about a man, just from man to man aspect. Let's take away the names. You had Coach A and Coach B basically in the same position. And Coach A had a quarterback that started for him that he ended up benching and knew that, hey, I cannot win with this guy, or I don't think I can win with this guy. I'm going to have to do something else because my butt is on the hot seat. I have to win next season. There's no doubt about it. I have to win, and so I can't hitch my wagon to this guy. And then you have Coach B, who is in the same position as Coach A. I have to win next season, and I need to find a guy to hitch my wagon to. And you're going to look at Coach A and tell him, the dude that you don't think you can win with, I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to win with him. And not only am I going to win with him, I'm going to come to your stadium and beat you with him. Like, dude, the ego of you to have.
Yep.
For you to think that. Brent Venables this is his first time ever being a head coach. This could be it for Brent Venables. There's nothing on his resume if he flames out at Oklahoma for another school to say, hey, we should give Brent another try. There's nothing on his resume for that.
And Oklahoma is his dream job.
Dude. And so at all costs, Brent was going to make sure, dude, this thing is going to work.
Yep.
And then you think you're going to go into that man's stadium and beat him with the dude that he said, I cannot hit my, do you know how just on the ego level and just like when all the reporters are gone, when Brent Venables is sitting at home at night, had he lost that game, it just would have ate at him like nothing before.
Yes.
And so, yeah, man, he was like in hindsight, that's why I didn't feel good about the game because he, just from a man standpoint, he was not finna, and he was going to relay that to his players too. We not losing this damn game. And then, like I said, A&M was a schedule loss, and I think it rolls down the hill from here. And so I appreciate you taking my call, man. We're going to see. Hopefully your boy Siski is right, but I think he just likes betting on his friends because with the Napier thing, and this is my last thing before I let you go.
Okay.
This is kind of what I wanted to tell Siski. Yeah, Napier won because I saw he was like, Florida fans don't want to fire him this week. Yeah, man, cool. He passed the test, but he still failed in the class. And that's going to be the same with Hugh Freeze. If he beats Georgia, cool. You passed the test. You made an A on the test, on a hard test. But your average went from a 47 to a 56. You still got some more work to do. And that's the same with Billy Napier. Cool.
Yeah.
You made an A on the test, and your average went from a 47 to a 55. You need to pass more tests.
Yeah, Billy's problem is that the South Florida game still exists. He can beat Texas A&M on Saturday, and
that was the test. He didn't study for that test at all. He just walked in and bombed the shit.
And look, he's got a couple of spots where he can get one of those you get to eliminate your lowest grade kind of deals, and he's got a couple of those. Like he could beat A&M, he could beat Georgia, he could win some games where suddenly people go, okay, all right, I hated it, but I'm gonna give you a mulligan. Because I think if Florida has its druthers, they won't fire him. They'll keep him because Florida doesn't want to do the deal where you fire Billy Napier and you go out into the coaching deal and you offer Lane Kiffin and he says no, and you offer Eli Drinkwitz and he says no, and now the next thing you know, you actually hire somebody that isn't even close to as proven as Billy, right? And so. I can tell you that
that's why I don't. If you're Florida firing Billy for Summerall, I don't think you're basically doing the same thing over.
Even
I don't think you can go back
you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it.
No.
It just said the optics are bad.
No.
And so I think they're going to give him every opportunity. The one that's interesting to me is the Auburn one, because if you tell me that they lose these next two games, they lose to Georgia, they lose to Missouri at home, I'll tell you it's over, and I'm fascinated to see what they do with that job if it comes to that, because
I would hope they would give Summerall. See, the thing about I'm hearing too much stuff from that standpoint. I'm hearing that they would like to give DJ Durkin a good audition.
Yeah.
And man,
you just can't do that. How do you sell that to people?
Yeah.
How do you sell to people that, okay, well, you know, the head coach wasn't any good, so we're going to take his defensive coordinator. Even though I'll say this, I do think in terms of running a program at that level, I think DJ would be okay. It just look, I covered that. I was in that state for a decade. I covered that team as every day for 6 years. The Auburn job's potentially a great job. It's also a high pressure job where, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. It takes a certain type of person to work in that state, to make it work in that state. I mean, Hugh's not that guy.
You've got to like grinding at Auburn. You've got to like just going out and getting effing to it. That's just part of the gig at Auburn. Like, you can win, but man, you got to work your butt off. And it's not even about, you know, being like, you can get damn good players at Auburn. You can get what you need.
Yeah.
But you have to work. You're not gonna have like freebies that Georgia and Alabama and LSU get. You're not gonna get many of those.
And you can't
you can convince kids to come there though. You can convince kids to come to Auburn, which is, you know, what you just got to do. And I mean,
and you have to have a tough skin.
It's a full circle job. Yeah, man.
Yeah, you have to have tough skin.
Job.
It is. You have to really work, and like, you know, I mean, Tuberville really worked. I mean, he grinded, you know, and he was thin skinned, but at the same time he could be tough skinned, and he like, when I would write something that pissed him off, instead of him turning it into a 2-year, you know, grudge, he'd come up to me and fight with me, and then it was over. You know, because he knew, hey, this guy's in Mobile. He's got a lot of people read his stuff. I don't need an enemy here. And, you know, and we weren't. We were always good. Like, you know, I mean, like, there were times when I'd be like, he'd say, why'd you write that? And I'd say it to him, and he's like, yeah, but you're wrong. And he'd show me where I was wrong, and I'd be like, well, son of a bitch, you know, and I'd fix it. And there were times where he'd say, why'd you write that? And I'd say, because I'm right. And he'd be like, yeah, but why'd you write it? I'm like, because I'm right. And he would be like, yeah, I know. I'm just, you know, he'd be frustrated. And he would tell me, hey, I'm just frustrated. You know, I'm just taking it out on you. And you've got to have that kind of deal. And I don't, Hugh does not have that. He does not have it. And he never has. Hugh should have stayed at Liberty and made a lot of money and been a legend. They would have renamed the stadium Hugh Freeze Field or something. That was his mistake, but his ego would not allow him to do it.
Yep. I appreciate you taking my call, man. Brian. You have a blessed weekend.
You too.
Have fun, man.
Thanks, man. Bye. All right, we've passed the 2-hour mark here on the big show. So I'm gonna shut it down. This is podcast number 4. You guys were great. Thanks to all of you for calling. Chase got caught in traffic. He just got back into town in the last 30 minutes to an hour. So he didn't stand me up or anything. He just got caught in traffic. That happens when you're coming back from the beach. We all know that. So speaking of Chase, he will be hosting the MPW Digital postgame show presented by Realtree following the Washington State game on Saturday, 11:45. I'll have coverage from the stadium. Tyler Comas will be with me. We'll have that on Rebels 24/7. Catch McCready and Siskey from earlier today. Catch Pete's Pigskin Preview from earlier today. Lots of content. I talked to Jeffrey Wright earlier this morning. We talked about the games. Baseball going on right now. Phillies and Dodgers in the bottom of the 5th. No score in Game 4 of the NLDS. Cubs and Brewers play Game 4 from Chicago. Later tonight, Tigers and Mariners play Game 5 in Seattle. For that series, the winner of that will play Toronto in the American League Championship Series. So if you like baseball, it's a great weekend for that. And a big slate of college football games that we will talk about on Saturday. So until then, thanks again to Comer and Southern for hosting the show, or sponsoring the show, I should say, each and every Thursday. Thanks to Blue Sky for sponsoring us for the last 11 years or whatever it's been. Incredible corporate partner. So, yeah, Daniel, that's a good topic to get into. Jevin Snee, what happened in 2009. That would probably be a really good, a really good story down the road. God bless Jevin. Hope he is resting in peace. Hope his family has found comfort. That was a terrible end to that story. I always really enjoyed Jevin, his time. All right, again, we'll wrap it up there. So thanks to Comer, thanks to Southern, thanks to Blue Sky, thanks to all of you who called, all of you in the stream. We will talk to you again soon. Have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. Bye.